Yellow, 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 yellow. It is Tuesday and it's time for Tuga Tuesdays. Like every Tuesday here, we bring with the boys here, Mr. BENFICA, Mr. Rui Pereira, the best goalie in the planet, according to many, many, many websites. He's been undefeated for 7 years straight without conceding a single goal on his Oh my man, I'm going crazy, guys. I'm Nino Torres here with the boys of Tuga Tuesdays. We're gonna talk about round 4 in the competition. Unfortunately, tonight, the happiest man on the planet, in the soccer planet, is not here. Right? We're gonna miss him because he's recovering from COVID. Derek Gomez, we'll send you a big hug to you. Hopefully you recover soon. Because we're going to talk about your sport, and you know we want to talk about your sport. And we all know that you're watching this. You might be just watching on the comments, so you can just free your fingers and send your thoughts. And we're not going to ask for your 30 seconds, but we're going to ask because we got a lot to talk about, man. A lot to talk about in here on this episode of the Tuesdays. Of course, we're going to kick off with the with my boy, Mr. Mike D'Agostino. You said many times that was not the route, that was not the solution. That you think that you believe that changing a coach was not going to solve any issues, and yet they fired him. They fired Mr. Roger Schmidt, Mr. Agostino.
And it remains to be seen if it's going to solve any issues. I mean, I think the issues will still be there. To be honest with you, what coach in his right mind wants to come into this job right now where half the team has been a liquidation sale? Everything must go. It looks like a bargain store going out of business, and everybody's got to go. I think the kit man will go for a decent price right now. They'll sell the kit man if they can. I don't know what's going on. But I do think that the environment became impossible for Roger Schmidt to work in, and I think that's why he probably finally was open to negotiating his exit. From what I understood, they were negotiating. I don't know if it's been finalized yet. He's going to leave, but they're probably still hammering out the details. But no coach can work in that environment and what it had become. It remains to be seen who's going to come in. Of course, Benfica fans have their eyes set in the stars once again, and what's out there and what's going to come in here. And you guys' guess is as good as mine right now. I mean, I thought the Sergio Conceição talk was crazy, and I think it's getting more realistic, to be honest with you.
Really?
I don't know who else wants this right now. He may have a reason to want it.
Maybe, right?
It's crazy. It's crazy, but there's no matter who they hire, it's going to be a controversial decision. Half of the fan base is going to hate it. Half is going to like it. I've seen a lot of polls going out on social media, and Sergio's gaining some momentum among the hardcore fan base. So maybe not the hardcore, but the slightly less than hardcore fan base, because they know he's going to come in and he's going to straighten things out, and he's not going to be a yes man to the board, which has been the problem with Roger Schmidt, with Bruno Lage, with Rui Vitória before that. Jorge Jesus does his own thing, but it was a disaster under him too.
Right.
I mean, how many coaches are going to come in and out and the problems remain the same? So I really think that this international break would have been, honestly, it would have been chaos, but I think Rui Costa should have stepped down at this point and it really opened up a special election and started turning this ship around, because more than half the team that won the title 15 months ago is gone. This is a whole new team. I have no idea what they're going to go with now. And now we've signed this Turkish player from Galatasaray. I don't know anything about him. We've signed a couple other players I've never heard of.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe they're good signings for all I know. I don't know. But
they call them.
Yeah, it's gonna. The next 2 weeks are gonna be interesting to see what happens. That's all I got to say.
No, this is the perfect timing now to go with my 30 boys to say, what if I told you, if a coach came from your arch rivals, wins the title in the very next season that he was fired? from the arch rivals.
Yeah.
The 30 for 30 story on ESPN.
Yeah,
My God.
I'm not thinking about titles. I'm thinking about third
Well, no,
place right now.
I didn't draft
Yeah.
here, man.
But
I
it
didn't
would
draft.
be a story. Yeah, it would be a story. But
Will be a story. It will be a ridiculous story, but I don't think it's gonna happen. But we're going now talking about the arch rivals, going with the Dragons, looking for another victory over the Lions. But in the end, the best team prevail. Or am I wrong, Mr. Pereira?
You are not wrong. And before we get into this game, thanks for having me on your FIFA career mode team for the last 7 years. And, 7 straight years. Let's go. Let's go.
Oh my God.
Did I win Ballon d'Or?
Yeah, of course, man. Of course. The Golden Globes. Golden Globes.
Yeah, what a man. It things kicked off so nicely in the beginning of that game. First 15 minutes, things we were moving the ball really well. Sporting was just getting frustrated around our movement of the ball, even pressing too. We were winning everything in the midfield, but it just, Sporting did what they did, and they came out on top. They adapted really well, and once they got that momentum going, they never looked back. And I think they figured out us really well, and I don't think this is the formation that we have to line up with for the rest of the season. It works well against teams like Rio Ave, where you have Wenderson Galeno as your left back, but when you're going up against the big boys, a team with talent, you have to go with the players in their natural positions where they've been most reliable and dominant on over the last couple of years. A player like Galeno should be up top more, not so much in the back, because Sporting were really giving it to us. And I think the dynamism, the flair that Galeno has, I think he should have been much more further up on the pitch and not so far back, even though he can do well there. But in a game like this, you have to get that left back. We had to get this left back situation figured out, and and it had to be resolved. I think we mentioned this in the first couple of episodes of the season. This is okay to do for now, but when you're playing against Sporting, I don't expect them. I didn't expect Porto to line up the way that they did, and they did. And I think we were definitely exposed in this one, and we have to figure some things out. I love the whole idea of Vitor Bruno just mixing around these different players and using Galeno in a different position and everything, but we have to figure things out and go and start adapting to the proper formation to go out for the rest of the season. Which, in fairness, I'm happy that we made all these acquisitions in the last minute of the transfer window. I think that's going to be a huge boost defensively. I don't think Zé Pedro is the guy to be the starter, and we got a couple of reinforcements in the last couple of days, which could make a huge difference. And then also the left back from Famalicão, I can't even remember his last name. What is it, Mora, right?
Yeah, Mora.
Yeah, Mora. Francisco Mora.
Yeah, so I mean he's been really good with them, and that's the position that we needed to be filled up the most. And we have with him possibly being in the starting 11 that can put Galeno out in the position that he needs to be playing in.
Now, I wanted to go back to Mikey in a second, but I wanted to address first with Rui the whole known transfer situation with Galeno. So he was all set to go. And then one last minute call, one last minute email, one last minute WhatsApp. Who the freaking knows? He stayed. And I posted this because Jason posted something about Galeno, and I said, you know what? I think Galeno's gonna have, for now. He's been remarkable so far for Porto. But now I think he's gonna go ballistic, and he's gonna be. This is gonna be his best season, just because of what just happened with him. He's gonna go into his best season yet with Porto. But Rui, what do you got on that situation, man?
Yeah, I can see it being his best season, and he started off really, really well, and he's really shown himself that he's improved and is the star player of this team. You can probably say that this is his team. If we're going to win the championship this year, he's going to play a huge role in that. And I think he's going to need to be the best player on the team for that to happen. Now, this whole situation with the transfer, this doesn't kind of really make sense to me. Didn't the club, what is it, Al Ittihad?
Al Ittihad, yeah. Al
Yeah.
Ittihad.
Huh.
They make the offer, and then the CEO in the last second just shut it down.
Didn't he? Yes, they went for another player at the last second, right?
Yeah, what was it, Bergwijn?
The NFL draft, buddy.
Bergwijn, yeah, Bergwijn.
Yeah, so I don't know. There's the whole conspiracy that the CEO is a Benfiquista, which he is. And
yeah, it was huge in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, but it's I don't know.
I don't know, honestly.
It's it would be ridiculous if that was the case, right? It would be absolutely ridiculous because denying a player like that, that player just because he's wearing a different colors than yours. I don't know. I think it's I think, I gotta tell you, if I'm sorry, Mikey, but I gotta say this about Benfica. You're crazy, man.
Tell me about it.
It's possible. It's not that.
I can see Mike have one of those Dave Chappelle reactions. One of the latest episodes he had. He's like, even if he did it, you know what I mean? Like, so I mean, I don't know if it's. I mean, 50 million's a lot of money for Galeno. I think that's a little over the top. I would have taken the money without even thinking about it. I think that's incredible money, and you can make a transfer in the winter
and get a couple
with
players.
that money and get a couple of players or whatever it is. You have to take that deal, but I don't know if someone else made that offer to Porto and then the CEO saw that it's too much and we can get someone cheaper, which is what happened. They got Bergwijn for, I think, was like 25 million. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. I think it's really disorganized of the club to do that. But then again, you got to do what you got to do. I don't really know if that was because it was Porto that they were making the offer. I don't think the deal would have went through or the offer would have been made if that was the case. I don't know. It doesn't. It was really. It's quite bizarre for that to happen.
I just looked up who their chief executive officer is, and Rui's theory gains a lot of strength with that.
My brain.
It's
Right.
I can totally see where that thought process would come from. Then.
All right, I can be unbiased now.
No, that's a totally valid.
Yeah, I think he did it because of that.
That's a totally valid claim.
I think he did it because of that. I don't know.
I've seen more ridiculous than that. So yeah, I mean, I didn't realize he was the CEO at Al Ittihad.
Yep.
Hey, look at Nick Jovi, man. Nick Jovi saying that I'm biased. What is it? Sincerely, every Benfiquista. What bias? What are you talking about, man? What are you talking about, Nick?
I don't know. My DMs are filled with pretty crazy Benfiquistas. So
now, what is this, Mikey? What's the all right? What's the thought processing right now for you guys? Seeing Benfica, I know it's only 4 rounds. I know you're only 2 points behind the second place, but you're in 7th place.
Yeah.
Rounds.
Yeah.
Well, what is that? How does it feel to see your team? Because since I've gone in the league, I've never seen him in that position ever.
Honestly, it feels like we're still in last season. It feels like we're still in last season, and we're closer to the top than we were at the end of the season. So I mean, that's if there's a positive, it's that.
Look at that guy, half glass full guy, man.
I have to. I'm surrounded by the negativity. So I mean, it's tough right now, and it. Like I said, I have very little hopes for this season right now. I can't see how, with everybody, if the team was still staying together, and you were changing managers and bringing someone in to keep all these, with the majority of these players staying. I don't understand why after João Neves goes, anyone else is sold. I mean, that makes little sense unless
I
somebody
know.
shows me that the financial situation's much worse than they've let off, which it has to be at this. And if that's the case, what coach are you going to go get? If that's the case of the financial situation,
Yeah.
I mean, I have very, very little hopes for this season, and it's sad because they're coming here in the summer for the Club World Cup. I had plans of going to see this team play in their group stage, and what are they going to look like by then is what I'm afraid of. But it is. I don't know what they're going to do right now. I mean, they've brought in some players, like Nick said there in the comments that they signed this guy at the airport with no medical, the Turkish player. I'm not familiar with any of these signings. It's just, I mean, third place, it looks like, I think it's going to improve enough to where third place is going to be fairly comfortable, but I could be wrong. It could get worse. Who knows? It could get worse. With Marcos Leonardo leaving now at this point, it makes no sense other than to bring in a whole bunch of cash.
Ago. You bought him 6 months ago.
Exactly. I don't care what the profit is on that. It's say he never even had a chance to get into the team. I mean, he never even got a chance to play his position. He's been bounced around and played as a support man and coming off the bench every time. And now, who knows? You bring in another manager. What if he wants to play a whole different game than what we've been doing? And now what? These players are going to sit here for 6 months to all be offloaded again, and a whole new group of players come in January. What position are they going to be in by then? How many points behind are they going to be by then? Are we looking at Europa Conference League next year? I mean, that'd be really bad. But I don't know what else, there's no signs that this is going to turn around and get better, even though the individual quality still should be enough to turn it around and be comfortable in third place at the very least. That's not acceptable for the fan base. That's not acceptable for the board. That's not acceptable at the club. And I don't know who they're going to bring in. Well, they can't bring anybody in. The window's closed. You could still lose players to the Turkish and Russian market, which nothing would shock me at this point. If another player went to one of those markets, it's not a good situation. And honestly, I think Rui Costa is way in over his head. This job seemed too big for him. He lost control of this ship, if you will. I think someone else is calling the shots because these are not football decisions. He's the football man.
We got a name there.
I think Leonardo Jardim has already said he's not interested. I read that he's already said he's not interested. They're talking about bringing Bruno Lage back, and as a big Bruno Lage fan, I hope that's not the case because that'll end his career right now. He needs a stable situation after all these sackings, not this. I don't know. Renato Paiva is going to be too expensive.
Look at what Mauricio Ruano said. My uncle is because wants what you want. Because to step down. Yeah, he's not going to step down.
He's not, but he should.
Don't go wrong, man. I mean, your rabbi is going wrong.
It's clearly the first season went so well. I don't know what changed. The first season, football was at the heart of every decision, and good signings were made. Ever since Enzo left, it's been like somebody's getting commissions or something, and everything's been money driven, and the footballing's become second, and we have the product we have now as a result.
It is ridiculous, man. It is ridiculous.
And I would love to see Renato Paiva, but I can't see how Benfica can buy him out of his contract at Toluca at this point. That they're near the top of the table. They're playing well, and I'm sure they have more money than Benfica right now. Toluca does.
They got a lot of money.
I know they got a lot of money, so he's not going to come for cheap. So I don't care what club he came from, how much he loves the club. You can't just leave a situation and come into this dumpster fire that we have right now. And he's going to be competing for a title in Mexico this season. So I don't think he's an option either. I can't predict who's coming in here. I can't predict it.
Sometimes you're just better off riding out the storm.
Yeah, exactly, Rui. Exactly. And
I mean, look at what happened to Sporting a couple of years ago.
Exactly.
where there was a bunch of transfers that, and to a certain degree, you could say Roger Schmidt got screwed over with the transfers and everything, losing all these players. So. And you made a pretty good point about how over half the team from the championship season just 2 years ago, they're all gone.
They're gone.
You can say the same thing about Sporting. If we're going 2 years ago, 2 years prior of that,
the previous
Sporting
title,
lost all their they lost all their players, and
they went to
you know
fourth,
what they went to fourth place,
and they rebuilt.
They rebuilt from there. They stuck with the same guy to lead the ship that won a championship. You know, Porto's done that with Sergio Conceição, and they hung on to him for 7 years. Sometimes I think the solution is just to hang on to what has worked, and sometimes this year isn't the year for it. And
if you don't have the candidate available, you can't just discard what you have.
Yeah, and I think those years. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, the moment they decided to stick with Roger Schmidt at the end of last season, okay, they have to build him a team. They can't stick with him and then offload every player that's important to his system of play. Sack him at that point. Rather than offloading every player, sack the manager. Instead, they kept the manager, and then one by one, all the important pieces are leaving. And we're left with what we have now. We have, a 38-year-old Di Maria who, because of that, David Neres is at Napoli, right? We lose João Neves. Again, we never replaced Gonçalo Ramos. Now it looks like Pavlidis could fit into that mold if given time, but now all his support is gone. I don't know who's going to give him the ball. You're asking Prestiani to be Rafa at 18 years old, and that's and then everybody's on him because he's not doing it at what is he in his fifth? I think 5 starts right now for Benfica, and they're already writing him off because it's not working yet. It's just like once you commit to keeping a manager, you have to keep the squad strong, and you have to keep the important pieces. I understand Neves leaving. That was a deal that you can't turn down. That was the amount of money you can't turn down. But everything that's happened ever since does not make any sense.
And it's like you're punishing your manager for kind of being left out to
loyal.
dry.
Yeah,
and I know Benfica has always had this habit of like, if you start to struggle even after a championship season, they have no problem sacking you. But sometimes you have to, like football. Like I feel like especially Porto and Benfica for the last 20 years, we've always worked in like 2-year cycles, getting a couple players, try to rebuild championship seasons.
And then the next year you go,
maybe we'll win 2 in a row, but if you win 3 in a row or 4 in a row, you're being productive and you're lucky at the same time. All those those days are over now because it's no longer a 2-club league. It's a 3-club league that's been well established for the last 5-6 years now. So, I mean, there's going to be years. We're not going to see teams winning 3 in a row anymore. Maybe 2 in a row. And I don't see either of our teams going 3 or 4 years without winning a title either. And that's just how this league operates. And sometimes the board needs to be patient and stick to what has worked and trust your managers, because at one point it did work. And sometimes these players don't fit with this scheme of the manager. Exactly. You have to wait a couple of years. We operate differently than other clubs. We have to rely on finding good talent, making them break out and sell for profits. And that's how it is. I think it worked well with Sergio Conceição. It's been working well with Ruben Amorim.
Yeah.
And you can't really say that, like, unless if Benfica's winning 3 out of 4, you can't really say that there's a manager that has stuck around for that long. Sometimes you got to stick to what has worked and ride out the storm.
Yeah, and you see it in the bigger leagues. How long is Arsenal going to stick by Arteta? They're going to stick with him.
Yeah.
And it's
same with Klopp too.
He only won one title. Pochettino. It's better than the constant instability and the constant turnover. The desperation to try to turn things overnight around, and it just doesn't happen that way, especially in the current game. It's so hard for our teams to keep our players. You have to keep the managers. Something has to stay constant from one season to another. And like I said, at this point, Benfica had to part ways with Roger Schmidt. I don't think there's any way he could return to work in this situation. But
And that's the key. That's the key difference right now with Sporting. Now that you mentioned, right? This is a league that sells players every single season. It's probably the best. Is the league that does the best business in Europe. Getting for 10 mil, 5 mil, and selling for 50, 60, 70 mil, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sorry that I'm keep saying this, but it's just when I see this, when I saw this happening at the end of the season, when Ruben Amorim was he actually made a trip to London, right, to get involved with this. He was going to sign for a team for the Premier League, but then he stayed and he gonna solve the issue. He apologized and everything. I'm going to stay here. I'm going to stick to a project. I'm going to stick to Sporting. And so when they kept Jokic, which is fucking real, how that guy
can't believe they did that.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I really don't know how did that happen. But when I saw that, all right, if these two guys stay, Sporting is going to repeat the title. All right, I'm sorry that I'm saying this.
They're on their way already.
This is the crucial aspect of sustaining the project, sustaining the manager, sustaining your core players. The same attacking trident for Sporting is the same from last year. You don't have the same one. Neither Porto, neither BENFICA.
No.
None of you guys have the same attackers. So this is crazy. And now Andrew Royce here says in 2019 Barandas was playing FIFA career mode.
He's right.
His signings like Jesse and Bolazi. Now look at them, right? Much better signings and better culture.
Yeah.
Right.
They established the winning DNA now, and they have trust in the coach. They have that trust in the coach to lead them to that way. And even if it's not their season, they have the trust in him to regroup again and put out a better performance the following year. You know, I think that's just so crucial, having that confidence in a manager and a skipper that can do those things. It's one less worry for the board.
And Varandas and Uguviana as well. The whole structure, they have faith in the entire system from top to bottom. They each do their job. And remember, they wanted Varandas out at one time. He was unpopular for a while, and now there's no contestation of him. There's nobody trying to push him out right now, and he's built the best squad, the most cohesive unit. He's had the most successful coach, the right coach. That's, I think, the key is it's the right coach for what they have, and he's allowed his coach to build his team, build his culture, and it's a more hands off, and it's working. It's working. He's letting the manager run his team. The football people are running the football. The business people are running the business. They're not getting in each other's way. And, and it's why they're having the success they're having right now.
Now, look at what Mauricio's saying here.
Yeah, spot on, man.
Porto right now was to Villas-Boas winning the election, right? He's starting to clean up the house, right? Invest in the young kids. Plus the Saudi money from Galeno that would have been huge, but but the Porto window was pretty good. You gotta say that. It was
absolutely.
Yeah, no, it was great. I was really happy with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's been night and day for them, and Porto are clearly on the right track. I mean, you can see where they're going. Sure, they didn't get the result this weekend, but you can see where they're going, and you can see they're going to that season.
There's a goal in mind.
They're a club that's supposed to be in financial constraints, and they're bringing in, I know it's on loan, but they bring in a Fabio Vieira to just add more quality to this team and add more depth, and another guy that can put the ball on these guys to score goals. And you've got the Ivan Jaime, you've got the yes, thank you. You have the guys that can play, that can put the ball in the back of the net. I mean, they're going to be a dangerous team. I think they're gonna push Sporting. This thing's far from over, and Sporting still has to go to the Dragão when this team is going to be much more cohesive. They're going to have many more games under their belt together. They're going to be ready, and Vitor Bruno is going to, really know his team at that point. They're going to be dangerous. I don't doubt it for a second.
Right? It's going to be in January that those games.
In January, I don't doubt for a second they're going to be dangerous.
Winter is going to be. It's going to be so hot.
We got games going into the end of January now, so that's another added thing.
This is definitely going to be the new norm now. Like Sporting, like we said, Sporting. It's a three-way race now. This is a three-team league. It's not
Nobody
Porto
can
and
take a year off
BENFICA.
Now. Yeah.
You know, it's Sporting have established themselves as the best
Mhm.
team in the league and have been in that conversation for the last 5-6 seasons. So losing against Sporting is going to happen, and then losing to Benfica in the same season is a huge possibility. But what goes around comes around. The same thing can happen with Benfica, with Sporting, Porto, and
Yeah.
Sporting the same way. We still have to play them at the Dragão, where we're much more confident. So that this is all part of the new norm here. So I would have loved to walk away with a draw in this game, because I thought that's kind of like stealing.
It was going that way.
You're walking away with something. But
Guys,
it's to be expected.
Look at this story. Look at this comment from Andre Royce, man. Are you kidding me? He met Diana at Heathrow Airport when he was negotiating for Gyökeres last year. I asked him about it, and he said it was tough, crazy.
I bet it was tough, yeah.
Man, brother. Thank you, Andre.
Well done.
Man. Thank you for joining tonight, man. I appreciate it. That's gold right there, man.
Yeah.
Now,
Awesome.
Mr. Pereira, Mr. Goalie of the year of the decade. Let me ask you this. So we're gonna go more into the actual game now. We're gonna talk actual soccer now. All right. So what happened between that miraculous and glorious and brave comeback to beat Sporting from a 3-0 deficit to turn it around into a 4-3, to not get a single goal on this payback or revenge or whatever you want to call it from this round 4 of the competition?
I think a lot of it has to do with just kind of being in the middle of the summer. Yeah, it's a trophy, but is it like the real thing? Is this how we're going to figure things out? Sporting, Porto at the time didn't really know who's going to be coming, who's going to be going. There's a lot to be figured out. There's a lot that's happened in between since then and now.
There's a much more loose state of mind.
Yeah. I think Porto were quite lucky on some mistakes in the Supertaça, which kind of got them in a position to make the comeback possible. Obviously, they capitalized on it, but we were a bit lucky on it. So I think that's where a big factor was. I think Porto played very well to come back. They were very resilient. Vitor Bruno just let the boys just go out and just go for it. Just try. We're down 3-0. Just go at it. Try to get something. So I think Porto were a bit lucky to be in that situation, but there's so much that's happened since then and now. Sporting are pretty much with the same team from last year. As you mentioned, the 3 top attackers, their midfield, they're all pretty much there. They have that team, and I think it just took a few games for them to just get into that rhythm, and maybe that loss that they let slip away in the Supertaça just kind of woke them up and put them set them straight. And ever since then, they've just been unstoppable, putting goals in, not conceding too many clumsy goals or anything like that. They've been playing really, really well. And Porto is like, new coach, new players. We don't know who's coming, who's going. Like the whole Ivan Nielsen thing that caught me off guard. I didn't think he was going to be leaving. I thought he was going to be the number 9.
Right.
So I think the board, Vitor Bruno just not playing a lot of your average starters from last year was an indication that he thought that they were going to leave. So he had to work with other players. So I think there's just some more figuring out on Porto's end than it is for Sporting. I think Sporting are just established and ready to go for the season, where Porto, on the other hand, they still have to kind of figure something out. And it was quite obvious in this. They were totally exposed. I think the formation is definitely going to change. And I think so. I don't think you're going to see Galeno playing at left back for the entire season. I think that's just a complete waste, and we have to figure out what the number 9 situation is going to be. Is it going to be Danny Loader? Is it going to be Fran Navarro? That's the situation that is concerning. Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of figuring out to do. There's a lot of good players on Porto, and I think we, especially with the last minute signings, couple of center backs and the left back, I think those could be enough for us to win the championship. We do have good players, but we have to figure out this system to make it work.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I think it's going to be a lot of improvement to come for Porto. Now, Mikey, on your end, So we're saying, of course, that Roger Smith was just giving the Prestiani the role to be Rafa. Obviously, he's not ready for it. But
Mhm.
you got Coxu, Prestiani, and Di Maria, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, uh, but let me tell you this, all right? Because people right now it's saying, "Oh, this is not working. It's not working." But for me, it was just a bad game for those three. If those three playing 7.5 points, they will run
Well,
over the game. I'm telling
right.
you.
And how much time do those three really have together this season?
Exactly.
Each one of them came in at a different stage of the preseason. It's more. It's not as simple as just putting these guys on the field and expecting everything to work on the first, second, or third try. Things take time. Di Maria played a lot of football this summer. He played in the Copa America, right? And he
Yeah.
came back late. We didn't even know he wasn't even signed until well at the end of the preseason. He was still a
I
free
know.
agent. So Prestiani has grown because he was there on day one. He made the most of preseason, and that's why he's in the 11. Because at the time he reported, the plan was to loan him out to somebody and let him get minutes somewhere else. Then Kokshu came in. So I'm not saying it can't work, but these things take time. These things don't work just overnight. I know they were all in the team last year, but that was last year. This is this year. You've got a different striker who needs different, types of service. And now he's got guys that should be able to give him service in those three. It, they don't have the familiarity yet. And the roles I don't think are really well defined yet between the three of them. And I think that a new coach now has to figure out the new coach could come in and play a 4-3-3. We don't know. And it could look completely different. Who knows? He could move Prestiani back to the bench, and all that work could be undone if he decides he likes somebody else there. You know, um, yeah, it was a bad game. I think that's part of the problem. And Benfica are in a position where you can't afford a bad game because everything's already so tense and so much pressure is already there. And losing that first game of the season did that as well. And now that's two road games, 1 point from two road games. That's going to just increase the pressure as well. They got an ugly win at home the week before. It wasn't good. I don't think that
It wasn't good.
regardless
No.
of the result, okay, there's a lot of work to do. Even if Benfica had found a way to steal a winner late, the problem is we would start to think that we're going in the right direction and that the things are looking up. No, you get a fluke win sometimes, and people misread that and misinterpret that as improvement. And there's a lot of work to do in this team, and there's a lot of roles that have to be defined. And what happens sometimes is you go on a little bit of a streak and you get results, and it masks some of the problems that there. And now all the problems are out in the open for everyone to see, and the opponents see it. The opponents are more than ready to face Benfica because Benfica is incredibly predictable. And I mean, Moreirense came out to play. They didn't even sit in. They had all the confidence in the world that this was their night. They came out and went for it. They were very unlucky to have a goal disallowed. Okay. Incredibly unlucky to concede that penalty. For me, that's not a penalty. There's a foul on Barreto before the penalty. There's a handling
Yeah,
of the ball.
yeah.
Okay. The VAR misses it. That's inexcusable. I'm not gonna sit. I can't sit here and criticize when it happens to other teams when they get, and then sit here when it's my team and say, oh well, no, it should not have been a penalty. This should have been a 1-0 win to Moreirense. Benfica got a point they didn't deserve out of this, and it's just again, there's no connection between the team. They don't look interested. They've never gotten out of preseason mode. It's still very slow, very low belief. You can see it in their body language, in their faces.
Yeah, body
Very low
language.
belief that they're gonna pull it out. There's been times in the past where Benfica are losing 1-0 on the road with 10 minutes to go, and you can see that they believe they're gonna still get 2 goals to win it. Or in this one, the goal kind of happened because the penalty happened. I don't think they were going to create a goal from it. And yeah, like you said, they stole it late. Exactly. Um, they're not setting up their striker with good opportunities. Okay, they're half chances. They're giving up goal. I mean, that goal, I know it's a deflection, but again, it's Antonio Silva, who also didn't have a preseason. He went to the Euro to have one bad game, and then he was going to be sold and didn't do anything all preseason. He sat waiting for a deal that never happened. And now he's been thrust in because things are tough. And for whatever reason, they went back to Antonio and Otamendi. Neither one of them are ready to play all the time yet. Meanwhile, Tomás Araújo's been maybe the best Benfica player through the first 3 weeks, and he finds himself on the outs. It's just overreacting to not knowing what to do when things are wrong, and overreacting, trying to overcorrect, changing guys. It does. I mean, taking Tino out and leaving Barreto in, and then Barreto trying to do Tino's spot, trying to do his job when Renato Sanchez comes in, and he doesn't do it as well as Tino does it. You know, it's just a constant trying to constantly put Band-Aids over to stop the bleeding, and it just starts bleeding out of another spot once you do that.
Yeah.
It's really again, it was the time for a change, and maybe a new set of eyes, just a new set of ideas, and just maybe it takes all the pressure off, and they can start to play football again and just get back to at least playing to their level, to their abilities, and starting to build a team from there. I mean, really, for me, I know people won't like this, but the season kind of starts now for Benfica. I know we're already 5 points back, but from a development standpoint, from a team building standpoint, a chemistry standpoint, it really starts now. Pep Guardiola always said that the season really starts after the transfer window closes, because you never know what's going to happen in that window. And fortunately, nobody else can leave now. That's the fortunate
thing.
And at least until January, these are the guys, and you can build something and try to show some improvement, get some momentum, and then in January address the needs and start building. And I hate to say building for next year, but the coach in me is thinking that already, because at this rate, Sporting could get so far away that you're playing for second or third place. And I don't think Porto are going to lose again for a while either. I've been really impressed with how they've played this season so far. I think I've seen the improvement, and I think they got a good coach on their hands. I think he was a huge piece of Sérgio Conceição's success at Porto. And I think that's why Sérgio was so angry that he took the job, because wherever Sérgio goes now, he doesn't have him with him. And I think he realizes his value in that sense. I see these two teams kind of going off to the races and accumulating maximum points for several weeks now. And Benfica are going to have to improve, but they can't. The problem is Benfica is going to focus on what Porto and Sporting are doing and not on what they need to do. And it's hard to improve that way. You start scoreboard watching. You start overreacting because, Gokares has 7 or 8 goals already. And you look at that, and Sporting are perfect. And, they've already got 12 points. Oh, we've already lost 5. I've heard people say this. We can only lose 7 more points, or we're below 90 points and you can't win the league. It's like people think this way when Benfica are not ready to think like that right now. They're really at square one, and they have to think about the next match. What are the 11? What are the goals coming into this? What are we going to improve on? How are we going to create more opportunities to get more goals? Because until the ball starts going in, it doesn't matter what else you do on the pitch until the ball starts going in. And it's been a struggle to score goals this season. And, you're not going to get bailed out by a penalty every week. You're not going to get, a VAR decision overturning a goal every week. The back line needs to be shored up. I think with the number of central defenders in this team, I know Morato's gone now. He's gone to Forest, I believe. They were built to have a back 3, and they never went to it. And the fan base would never accept it. It's been tried in the past, and they revolt. But that's really what the team had the personnel to do, was to play with the back 3, very similar to what Sporting's doing with wing backs. Instead, now you've got, Ba and Carreras having to defend more because, you're playing with a back 4 instead of a back 3. They're forced to defend more. And then when they do get beat on the one-on-one and the ball gets delivered and, a late arriving player is open, and then it takes a deflection and it beats the goalkeeper, who's also not been at his best this season, or since February of last year. Since the 5-0 defeat to Porto, Benfica have not been well. Okay, they've really not been well ever since then, and I think even Trubin has been vulnerable ever since then. This team needs a mental coach, really a good mental coach, because they really need to turn it around.
Oh
They
boy,
need to, they need to. There's no
it's
belief in
happening,
them.
isn't it?
Yeah.
It's happening. Oh, that first classic was gonna be wild.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's gonna be
Otamendi
all
looks
right,
old.
gonna be
wait,
wild.
Yeah, I think I agree with
it's in
you. He's
October,
old.
right?
Yeah,
Hold on.
it's
Hold on. I think it's at the Luge. Oh, what a baby.
first one's at the
He
Luge.
wouldn't.
Yeah.
He wouldn't dare show up at the Dragão if it was the first matchup. Oof, oof.
See here.
Hey, Rui, now Mauricio said something about Otamendi looking old.
Yeah.
And we're gonna go jump to Rui now because we start now. Porto. I was just going over all the roster, all the new names, all the new signings, and all the players that are currently in the starting 11. And outside of who else is Galeno? Who else? Let me go and see here. Galeno, Gonzalez, and who else? Costa. You have players over 23 years old, man. This is pretty much an under 23 roster, basically. This Porto side, and that's the I want to say the concern in terms of fighting for the title, and I think that's the lack of experience is just the part that's going to be missing in the end, because in the end, we're talking about the all the qualities for the sporting players, and you have not only leaders on stat leaders, but you also have leaders. I mean, men that are leaders on the pitch for them.
Mm-hmm.
What do you
Yeah,
think
I mean that's when players like Diogo Costa and even Pepe, Steven Eustáquio, whether they're starting or not, that's and players like Pep as well. That's where their value really comes in, is because this is how Porto, this is how all three of our teams operate.
Mm-hmm.
We have to invest in young players. And Jason and I have talked about this on our show before, that Porto and Benfica in particular in the last 10 plus years, a little bit more Benfica, they've been great with the youth academy and being able to use them, first get good products from the youth academy and using them and then shipping them out. Because now buying players from South America or in Africa, it's becoming expensive now. It's 15 million, it's 20 million euros now. It's not 5, it's not 3, it's not 8. 10 million was like a lot of money for one player. So we're going to be seeing, we've always seen a lot of young players, but and a lot of them turned into great studs. I mean, look at Vitinha when he returned to Porto from Wolverhampton. Was probably the best player in the league and was the sole reason why Porto flipped the switch. He was the difference maker that season for Porto.
Yes.
Kid that was 22 years old. Look at Enzo Fernandez at Benfica. What was he, 21, 22 years old at the time?
19.
Yeah.
Flipped the switch for them. Sporting, when they had Mateus Nunes and João Palhinha, even though Palhinha was in the league for a while, like young players really made the difference, but they had that combination, that mix. They had the Samuel Coates, there was the Peps, there was the Rafa Silvas and a couple of other players from Benfica with experience. Otamendi,
yeah.
A lot of that makes a difference. So yeah, I mean, I'm happy to see it, because these are the players. The younger players are the ones that you hope to make that to really make that spark and to flip the switch to make the team much better. You hope for that. But of course you need experience. You need the players like Diogo Costa, even though he's only 24 or 25, but he has the caps of a 27, 28-year-old player.
A Euro and a World Cup now, yeah.
Euro, World Cup, 4th straight season being the starter at Porto. That's enough experience. And then you have a couple of other players with age that have been around the block, that have been a professional for quite some time. And you have to rely on those players to really mentor the younger the younger generation. But
Yeah.
This is how it has to be. The younger players have to be thrown into it, because if not, you're wasting talent. You have to give these guys the opportunity. And we are in this business. We are like the youth academy for the big boys. We have to buy cheap. If we can produce it from the youth academy, even better.
Yep.
Get them out there, because even if you sell a player from your own youth academy for just 15 million euros, it is the same equivalence as if buying one for 10 million. It's even cheaper. It's even cheaper from buying someone from 10 million and selling it for 35. It becomes even cheaper if you're just making 15 million euros over the long period of time in terms of costs to develop that player. Even if you're making 15 million, what's a plusvalenza? How do you say that in English?
What's the word for that?
The profit margin. Margin. Even just on the sale, that even becomes more cost effective that way than it is buying someone from South America or wherever it is and then making 20 or 25 million instead of the 15 million, because there's always going to be those clauses. There's always going to be the salary hike on those players, the agent fees, etc., etc. So there's so much more cost
when you sell.
And you got the sell-on clause as well. So it's not always guaranteed that way. Right. Like I mean, how much money did Benfica make off the Enzo Hernandez deal?
Right, and River Plate as well made a killing off.
They made a kill. That's why they sell even with Alan Varela. That's why we were able to buy Alan Varela for 8 or 9 million, because the sell-on clause is so high for them that if Porto were to sell him for 100 million, they're going to get 20 million, 18 million.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening right now in Argentina. Is I just watching. I watch PSP in Argentina almost every day here, and I got all the day-by-day operations for Boca Juniors, River Plate, and what they're doing now is they're forcing the buyers to pay the release clause. They're pushing for them to get the release clause and not getting an agreement. And all right, I want to sell it for this, or I want to sell it for X amount of millions.
Yeah.
But because they set it up, and I'm listening to the numbers: 15, 20 mil, 25 mil release clauses. That wasn't existent. It was not existent. And we're talking about not 10 years ago. We're talking about only 5 years ago.
6 years ago,
It's only 5. We're not talking about the beginning of this millennium. No, brother. And the game is changing, and these freaking Qataris, Saudi Arabians, or whatever, they really ruined the.
They blew the market. Yeah, they inflated the market.
Yeah, inflated the market. They inflated the market with ridiculous. Yeah. It's just it's
to be fair, it was already. I mean, ever since the Neymar deal, everything just really ballooned.
That's a turning point.
But then, I mean, I don't want to be like, I don't want to like say that it's like it's just the Saudis, but like what the Saudi League is doing is how all these big clubs like PSG, Manchester City, Chelsea, they just did it in Europe. I mean, I felt like this was all going to happen at some point.
To them now. They're just mad.
Someone with a bigger D, with a bigger D, but
I mean, but everything was always ridiculous. But now, I mean, even look at the American market with the amount of money that's being pumped into the American market. The Argentines aren't going to Europe anymore.
No, they're coming to MLS.
They're going to the MLS.
Yeah, a lot.
And that's a huge problem for teams like us, who always relied on that system. That's why we have to really, really maximize the best of our youth academy, so we can have these players to sell, to grow, that are guaranteed, feasible players or superstars in these bigger leagues. It has to happen. So, I mean, it's kind of a scary thing. It's like I'm kind of like hoping like Saudi Arabia comes into Portugal and starts buying all the clubs. I mean, if you can't beat them, you got to join them.
Money going forward, with the TV deal coming down the road, we're going to be keeping less of our own TV money. We're going to be sharing it with the rest of the league. We're going to have to get creative in order to have the budgets to even compete in the marketplace. It's going to be tough. I mean, the new Champions League format's not going to be kind to our teams. If you look at it, every game is going to be brutal. I know, like, people are telling me, oh, Benfica, there's no way they don't come in the top 24. And I'm looking at it like, I hope we win a game in this. I mean, every away game is ridiculously tough. Every home game is against a huge club. It's like the top teams are so protected in this format. The teams from, the big 5 leagues are so protected. And now they've only got to come in the top 24. There's no groupings. There's no way to sneak in now. I think the whole thing is going to change in the next 3 to 4 years in Portugal. It's going to look very different. It's going to be adjustment for fans because it's not going to be as easy. And we're seeing money go into Braga. We're seeing money get pumped in to Vitória, with outside investment and with other clubs investing. Rio Ave is now, connected to Nottingham Forest and Olympiacos. They're going to make improvements. This is going to be a little bit of a change for us. And there's going to be some getting used to for everybody. I don't think in 5 years we're going to be talking about needing 90 points to win the league. I think it's going to be a significantly smaller number because we're going to be dropping more and more points to these other teams because it's going to be harder to get these kinds of players. And we're going to be competing probably more for internal players within the Portuguese league. And that's a different level of player. I mean, we're going to Jota Silva 5 years from now might be a huge signing for one of our clubs versus him going to Nottingham Forest, because, he doesn't have the sell-on value that our clubs are looking for right now, because that's what we look at. If a guy is 23 years old, he's too old right now. I think that's going to change.
Yes. Look at this. Hold on a second, guys. Hold on a second. There's a bold prediction here. Rio Ave will win the league.
Hopefully they can put in a full stand first before they win the league.
Right.
So we're not looking
I love
at
that.
the
I love that profile picture too.
I love it.
Fits it perfectly.
It's another important sign here.
Too.
Right.
Famalicão's done great business since they've been in the perfect. Makes sense.
Bigger club than Arsenal. 2 Champions Leagues.
You're right. You're right.
Let me ask you this. All right. Do you picture Santa Clara? Having less losses than Benfica after 4 rounds? Do you got that? Do you see that coming? No,
didn't see it coming. No.
And by the way, I want to find myself here because I predicted that victory over there, and also predicted a 1-1 Benfica and what it is.
Yeah.
Right. Remember, like, you sure? Yeah, I think it's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough. But I'm so happy. I'm so happy for the Islanders climbing up on there on the table with Famalicão, no longer perfect. And as for now, we only got 2 teams undefeated. One is Sporting, running perfect, and the other one is Braga with 2 draws and 2 victories. That leads us to our predictions for round 5. It's not going to be this weekend, I know, because it's the freaking international break.
But Nino, big thing was Vitória got into the Conference League. Finally, a Portuguese team got into the group stage of the Conference League. The league needs those points bad.
But they lost Richie Mangas now. I mean,
I know.
They sold Richie Mangas. They sold George Silva.
Yeah,
I don't know what they're going to do, man.
But good job by Rui Borges to get it done. I mean, we'll see. And they're looking good on the table in the league. So,
hey, don't forget about El Memo
Ochoa.
I saw the league, brother. Huh? All right.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Right. That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Let's see here.
What do you have, Mikey?
Pulling it up right now. All right, so
I know it's the Sporting kicks off the
Friday, September 13th. Roca hosts Sporting. And I have no reason to think Sporting won't keep rolling.
5-1.
I would say 3-0, but
What's it 5? What's it 5? 5-1. Roy.
Yeah, how about AVS signing Ochoa?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Sporting in Roca. Yeah, Sporting's kind of. Jeez. Yeah, they're gonna. I don't need to give a score for that one.
Yeah, they're just gonna run the score. They're gonna run the score.
Yeah.
All right.
What is this, Mikey?
Saturday, September 14th, Casa Pia home to Moreirense.
Casa Pia Moreirense.
I think Moreirense will win 2-1.
2-1. Yeah, I like that. Nick, we'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah, I'll go Moreirense as well. Let's go 1-0.
1-0. All right, what you got, Mike?
AVS Rio Ave. Well, I'm assuming Ochoa will be in the lineup by the 14th.
ABS, buddy. ABS.
1-0 ABS.
Yeah, clean sheet.
1-0 ABS.
Clean sheet, yes. There you go. For my goalie, I'm gonna talk to Memo to send the gloves to Rui.
I'll sign him for him.
I'm telling him, send them back. You know, like slapping me. Yeah.
With LeBron's jersey.
Yeah.
That was so cold, man. That motherfucker, man. Anyway, all right. What's next?
Okay, Benfica Santa Clara.
Come on, man. You gotta win this one, right?
Yeah, I gotta win. Gotta win this one.
It's at home, right?
It's at home. It'll probably be ugly. It may not be, depending who the coach is. It may be very enthusiastic because everyone thinks that switching the coach just automatically means a winning streak. So they may be very enthusiastic. I'll say 2-0 Benfica in this one.
It's a 2-1. It's a 2-1.
You're probably more right than I am.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 2-0 on this one, and just for
nothing. All right.
New coaches kind of tend to give a little spark.
Yeah,
let's go with that. 2-0, and he's got time to kind of adjust.
He's got the window. Yeah, he's got
that window to kind of really get things settled down a bit. So I think that's a huge advantage for Benfica for sure.
Famalicão, Gil Vicente, another Minho derby. Every week we got Minho derbies. I think Fama responds. I know Nino likes Gil Vicente.
Yeah, I love Gil Vicente. It's Marcelo, bro. It's Marcelo, the elephant's rape.
But it's in Fama, so it's gonna be.
It's in Fama. Okay,
3-1 Fama.
2-1 Fama. Actually,
I'll
3.
Go 2. I'll go 2-0 Famalicão.
Okay.
What do you got, Mike?
Sunday the 15th, Porto home to Ferenc. I think it's a 3-0 win for Porto.
Don't do it, Nino.
They've got a message to send.
I know he's got a draw in his pocket right now. I know he does.
Oh no, they're gonna win. They're gonna win. 2-1.
Yeah, I'll go 3-1.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Some hesitation there, man. Why, man?
All right.
I don't know. Our defense was pretty good, except until against Sporting. So I'll concede a goal.
That's the first 2 goals conceded, right?
Yeah.
Estoril Nacional.
Estoril Nacional. Jesus Christ. I'll give it to the Islanders, man. I think the Islanders are going to win.
On the road, okay.
Yeah. I'm going to say 2-1. 2-1 Nacional.
Okay. I'll say 1-1 in this one.
You guys know how I feel about Estoril?
Yep.
3-0 Nacional.
Okay, big one. Big Minho derby. The big Minho derby. It is Braga hosting Vitória.
Jesus.
On a Sunday night.
Another late drama from Vitória. Last season was awesome, man.
Yeah, I'm going to say 2-2. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be lots of goals now. I mean, I said 2-2. 2-2 on that one, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good score. At Braga,
I think they both got European play the following Thursday. So,
yeah, you know what? I think I'm gonna go with Guimarães 2-1.
All right.
Yeah, that second goal that Braga was going to score in your guys' game, it's gonna get called back.
Nice. What you got? That's
it,
Mikey?
Last one is a Monday night game. Estrela versus Boa Vista. This is my 0-0.
0-0 on that one. 1-1.
Okay.
Let's say 1-1.
Maybe Nani finally gets the goal and we finally get to see the backflip.
Maybe. How old is he now? He's still, 37, right?
He's going to be 36 or 37 by now, yeah.
No. Yeah, I'll go. I'm gonna go with the 1-1 on this one. Yep.
Nice. Nice. All
That's
right, that's all the predictions, guys. And she's been nothing since Nick is asking. All right, Jesus, man, crazy, man, crazy
Hey, you
weekend.
shocked us. You shocked us on Saturday.
Oh my God, man, it was so crazy. We got the call on Tuesday night. I mean, the producers got the call on Tuesday night. And one of my boys, sent me a WhatsApp message saying, this is happening, man. What? It's like, what? Man, so Wednesday morning, boom, they call us for a meeting, all the team. Guys, we're gonna have a meeting on Thursday. Okay, everybody? Yeah, everybody. Jesus. All right.
Never good news, right?
Never, because we never got meetings like that,
Mhm.
Well, everything is all, casual because everything is rolling, there's everything is good. Then they call us out, and guys, Gold TV was our client because we were working for a producer, for a company, a third party,
I see.
a third party in Peru who does all the production.
Subcontract. Yeah.
And they pull the plug. They just pull the plug, and Saturday is the last game, guys. What? The freaking Lord! I was like, man, are you kidding me? So yeah, guys, and we'll see what happens next. If we got another client, so okay. So yeah, that was it. They didn't give us a chance to
Blindside.
at least, like, I don't know, 2 weeks or
Mhm.
nothing, man. 3 days, 3 days, like boom, that's it. So man, that was the last game. I got the Clásico, but I'll let you know, guys, in a few days, right? There's something.
Something coming.
There's something in the making. Something miraculous actually happened already, in but I can tell you more.
Mm-hmm.
But all I can tell you is that you'll hear from me soon.
Okay.
I'm talking about really soon.
All right. Looking forward to
Real
it.
soon.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so I'm gonna keep you guys posted.
Nice.
But yeah, thank God it was. Boy, it was a miracle. But it's soon, very soon. You'll hear from me. All right, and Mauricio
Awesome.
Urbano, what is he saying? Can you teach you how to pronounce the team's names?
Takes time.
What players name correctly?
That's
Oh
good.
my man! So talking about names, I always say Royce. Is that right? Is that correct? I'm saying Royce, right? With RES is Royce, or how you say that?
Ari, wait,
Hey.
which
Mateus
name?
Royce. I always say Mateus Royce. Is that
Reis.
correct?
Oh, Reis.
Reis.
Reis. I say Royce. I will see
Yeah.
Reis. Talking about the pronunciation is Reis. Okay. So I learned that one. No? That Nick said fantastic. I appreciate Reis.
Mm-hmm.
You see, well, guys, I don't know. Not next Tuesday. I think we can take off next Tuesday because
Take
it's
off the
all the international break. My Peru plays on Friday night
Mm-hmm.
versus the runner-ups of the Copa America, Colombia. I have less than zero expectations on getting points.
Remember you saying that last time.
But who knows, man? Who knows? What? Are you kidding me? Who said that? What? The new guy's calling us the Red Lions from his. Oh my God!
Sporting Lisbon.
No.
That's the best one.
I love when the British press says that. It's always fun.
Oh no!
All because FIFA 2003 wrote Sporting Lisbon.
Yeah.
Oh my
Jeez,
God.
man.
Really, Red Lions from Lisbon. Jesus, mother of God. No way. And don't worry, Nick, but that's another guy that it doesn't have to do nothing.
Nothing to do with you, right?
No. They got another guy, and I heard that Mikey, were you watching the game on Gold TV, the last one, or not?
Yeah,
I had it on I was watching it on your TikTok because it was somebody else calling it, so I was just
It was
watching
somebody else
I was
calling
just
it,
on your
right?
TikTok listening.
Yep.
Okay.
I was on holidays. I was like
Yeah.
out on the road, so I had the volume down. I couldn't even hear anything. So
Yeah, I was in Charlotte for the weekend, so I was just listening while I was walking to the stadium. So
Oh my God,
that's all right,
Sporting-
Maurizio.
Sporting
Buffon's a
Lisbon,
criminal.
All right, guys. So we're gonna see you in a couple of weeks.
all right.
All right, we're gonna take the next Tuesday off
Okay.
because of international break, but we'll be back with Tuga Tuesday someday.
All right. Sounds
in a
good.
week. All right. See you
Sounds
guys
good.
next
See you
time.
guys.
Bye bye.
Ciao, ciao.
Thank you.